as we journey through Holy Week and look towards Easter. John chapter 12, verses 20 to 36, gives us a window into Jesus and his thoughts as he was looking ahead towards the suffering that he was about to endure on the cross. Now, whether you're a fan of books or films, there's a general rule that makes a good story. In other words, the hero never dies. Otherwise, that's the end of the story, and it's a pretty bad ending at that. So Jesus, our hero, predicts his death. And as he does so, he takes some time to explain to his first followers what it is that's going to happen and why it is that it's going to happen, so that they realise that it's not the ending that it might otherwise look like. And the first thing that Jesus says is that the time has come for him to be glorified. Now, John presents the account of Jesus' death and resurrection in an amazing way, because despite Jesus' troubled soul, John presents Jesus as being in control of all that is about to happen to him. Jesus chooses to lay down his life, and in doing so, the cross is the moment where he is most glorified. Second thing is this, that Jesus says, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. Now, as a general rule, I dislike gardening, but I do love planting and growing veg. Well, that's in theory, that is, because I'm not actually very good at it. This year, however, Rebecca, Anna and I have planted some courgette and tomato plants. Our seeds, planted in the ground, hopefully will grow into plants that produce much fruit and many more seeds. And it's in the same way with Jesus' death. Jesus knows that it's only through his death that we can receive life. This is the purpose of the cross, that we might receive life. And that life is many more seeds to carry out his mission in the world. This is the multiplication effect of the cross. One death, many lives. One mission, many missionaries. And the third thing that Jesus says is that Anna and I, when I am lifted up from the earth, will draw all people to myself. Jesus here draws on an Old Testament story which prefigures what he would do on the cross. In Numbers chapter 21, we find the story of God's people grumbling against God and against their chosen leader, Moses. As a judgment, God sends poisonous snakes amongst the people, and many of them start to die. But God also provides a way for the people who have been bitten by the snake to live. He gets Moses to make a snake, and he puts it on a wooden pole. And then those who, as an act of faith, look at that snake on the wooden pole, they will live. Jesus says that when he is lifted up, he will draw people to himself. Those who, with the eyes of faith, will look on Jesus, lifted up and hanging on the wooden cross, will live. And then fourthly, Jesus says that the cross is a place of judgment and victory. Jesus says that the cross is the place where the world is going to be judged. And by this, he's talking about the spirit of the world, which is living in opposition to God. He says that the cross is the place of victory, where the current ruler of the earth, the devil, will be defeated. He will be driven out as Jesus brings about the kingdom of God, the dominion of the place where God is ruling and reigning in this world. The Swiss theologian Hans Urs von Balthasar said this: divine grace is secretly at work in the whole sphere of history, and thus all myths, philosophies, and poetic creations are intimately capable of housing within themselves an imitation of divine glory. I think that what he's saying is this, that when we read or watch all of the best stories, the ones where the hero faces a moment of crisis, a moment where all looks like it's about to be lost, but then against all odds, the hero triumphs. In those stories, we see a glimpse of divine glory, because each one is a picture of the Easter story and the triumph and victory of Jesus on the cross. So as we journey through this Holy Week, may we see reminders of Jesus' passion everywhere that we look, and may we marvel afresh at all that Jesus has done and all that he's won for us on the cross.